Wednesday. From hot, sunny Jersey City. It is so bright outside. Literally like 2 hours ago, it was just torrential downpour and thunder and lightning. And then the sun came out and it looks dry outside. I'm near a parking lot and it's bone dry. It was a ton of water. The high is 89 degrees. And apparently it's supposed to happen again just as I'm heading to aerial yoga tonight. Very excited about that. That's sarcasm. I'm Jen Schiffer, and this is my stream. And if you're live with me right now, hello. And if you're watching the VOD, that's the video on demand, or Veil, video at your leisure. Nobody uses that. I just came up with that on my own. Hello. Thanks for joining. So, today we're doing something that it's a bit different than the last couple of weeks of me streaming. I had been triaging apps on glitch.com ahead of the July 8th shutdown. Got through over 700 of them. I took a break yesterday. I have been sick the past few weeks. I have thyroid disease, and I have updated I got an increase in my dosage of my thyroid hormone, and it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to adjust. So I'm just going to be like a little uncomfortable for about a month after the last month of discomfort. So that's why I haven't been scheduling these streams at a set date and time. I'd like to work towards that. But if you're here with me now, thank you. Our drinks of the day are, this is like a sugar-free orange drink. It's Mio and water. It doesn't look diluted. It's very diluted. Because I gotta stay hydrated. Not stay dehydrated. And then I got my afternoon coffee freshly poured. Yes, glitch mug. Let me tilt over here. So hot coffee with an oat milk, like a vanilla oatmeal creamer. Something to keep me going for the next hour or so. Okay, so let's see, what's new? Today we're going to update my personal site, which is jenschiffer.com. It used to be hosted on Glitch, and now it is a static site on DigitalOcean's app platform. I have stickers, by the way, that have my website on it, jenschiffer.com. They have pixel eggs that I painted. I was cleaning up the area to organize it a bit, and I found a purse, and I was like, oh, I haven't used it, I should empty it, and I found a bunch of stickers and strawberry candies, so that's fun. I went to yoga last night, which is my first time in about a week, because I was sick last week, and I did a good job, but my gosh, I was pouring sweat, which is expected. It's been hot, and also I'm like going through this like recalibration of my hormones, which manifests not in mood changes, fortunately, but like profuse sweating or feeling cold all the time. It's great. I can't wait until in a few years when I go into perimenopause and it exacerbates all of that. Live, laugh, love. But I was thinking earlier this week when I was adding stuff to my website, I was like, I got some like housekeeping I gotta do, and I have some things I want to update before I want to eat one of these right now, but I can't while I'm talking. I don't need to sound like I got marbles in my mouth, or worse, you'll know that I bite into this immediately. Let me get this out of my way. But okay. Let's get into it. You've got to be kidding me. Okay. There we go. I forgot I had to restart Streamlabs right before I streamed because Loopback, which is what I'm using for audio, wasn't working. Just seeing if... Gosh. I'll just check my messages. Okay. Let's go. Get my bangs in order. Here's .com. That's what my project is. I'm using Nova, which is my like local code editor by Panic Software. And I updated the README with some things that I've been wanting to do. But I think it might make sense to just do a brief tour of my website. I've been updating my candle store, and I'm using Equid, and I've just been being put through the ringer by the CSS cascade, and so I have all these tabs open of me updating that stuff. I've also been going through the Valtown docs, which in a future stream I'll show you how I use Valtown for server-side stuff. But let me get rid of Equid here. Cool. So here's jenschiffer.com. It has, as most of my online properties do, an interactive element where you can draw, and the color changes on click. This is a canvas background, and I'm using P5.js. Which is an open source JavaScript library for enabling you to do artsy kind of things. It's just a little syntactic sugar. Play Potch, Equid Trip Report, yeah. We have on Robot Karaoke, which is the karaoke show I co-host with Jamie Brew, we have Arrowwood Trip Reports. I don't know if we have the list of texts on here. We don't, but oh wait. Okay. This is quite a tangent I'm going on. But this is a Robot Karaoke catalog, and it is a spreadsheet that we have. This feeds into the actual form for people who are at the show, but this is just the raw sheet. And we have oh, maybe this isn't up to date. Okay, no. We're missing some stuff here. Cause do we have any share? No. Okay, we definitely have share on the list now. Okay. Anyway, Arrowwood Trip Reports are funny. And I do think of Arrowwood Trip Reports whenever I'm in Equid. Equid, it's just third-party JavaScript widgets so that you can put the storefront items like into your already like your site, and I like that control. It's just that after the trade-off of using third-party JavaScript widgets in your e-commerce store versus just letting the platform host everything is you have to fight the CSS cascade. Lots of exclamation point importance. That's what I was doing last night. I wouldn't actually do a stream of maybe like when the store's done I'll do a tour of the site like I'm doing for jenschiffer.com, but I would not do it live on the stream because it is such a like dark energy, satanic way of programming that I would not want to have me on the record doing that. There's a lot of exasperated outbursts and yeah. But not with genschiffer.com. So P5JS is what makes this happen. You don't need P5JS. You can just use the HTML canvas API, but P5 makes it easier and simpler to do, as JavaScript libraries should. And then I have my own little JavaScript library called Draggy Divs, which turns these div boxes into movable, closable boxes. And when you close them, they come into this little menu here, and then you can reopen them if you like. When you refresh it, they'll go back to their default state. And this is a library that I had created a bajillion years ago when I drew Make 8-Bit Art, which is my pixel art editor. So, yeah. So you'll see if you're like, oh, there's like a pattern here, like someone said like, oh, you're always like having their background be like drawn on, and I'm like, yes, it's called having an aesthetic, a brand, a niche, and that is my own. So that's the gist of genschiffer.com. And then if it's like mobile, it's not responsive. But if you start out on your phone, it does start here. I would like to make it responsive one day, but I don't know. If you're like moving from, if your screen's changing from small to big, I feel like that's your journey. But if you start out small, I do have a media query to make it start small. And if for some reason you don't have JavaScript enabled, it just shows a plain web page with the boxes after each other, with none of those drawing or moving elements, because JavaScript is required for that. So for any of the like for any of the people who are like, JavaScript is the devil, I disagree, but here you go. Worship at the foot of my personal website. So let's go back here. So I have a number of boxes here. Current status is just where I list what I'm working on. Future robot karaoke shows, and talking about what I've been doing on YouTube, my candle store, and blah, blah, blah. Then I have a menu linking to my different pages, contact, just like standard fare. I would like to make this all a little bit more visually interesting. But yeah. The other pages that I have on here are my work experience, which is just like my CV, and then my speaking experience, which is, if you wanted a list of literally every conference I've emceed, conference talk or meetup talk I've given, workshops I've given, podcasts I've been on, they're all there. And I even updated it. So yeah, it's boring. It's whatever. In case people want to know. I do see former Fastly colleagues looking at my LinkedIn profile this week. I don't know if it's because I posted just a photo of Puma Greg's face zoomed in, or if they're wondering what I've been up to. What I've been up to is this bullshit. Endearingly, I mean. Art is another page where I list it's like so out of date, but like whatever. Not the press. I haven't gotten it much press on art because working in corporate has completely blocked me for like 5 straight years. But just residencies, exhibitions, press, digital projects where I'm looking to make 8-bit art and Vart. I do have an airbrush page, which is just I haven't airbrushed in a couple of months because I've been focused on candles. But and then I in streams a few months ago built this little modal gallery where you can see this is like a past watercolor project I had done in December. So you can find a prior stream. I think it just is a screenshot of my webpage back in December or January. You can see how I built that. But I'm going to be using that more. But this is just the latest watercolor project. I have a lot more. So there's a lot more I want to do with this page because I want to have like a box for candles and maybe links to a candle page. And I want something that's like more visual, more images, more pixel art that I've drawn, all of that. And then we have the glitch page. This is the most recent page that I've shown on stream before, a recreation of my glitch.com profile, and the list of the apps from Glitch that I've put in so far with the feature of the web wing. Web wing is what I call my web ring of sites and apps that I've made on Glitch, but also not on Glitch, before and after Glitch. And when I activate it, it creates this view where you can navigate through all the apps. This one will show a cockroach in a few seconds. This is from the screensaver code jam. I moved my screen, so my mouse, so I fucked it up. But yeah. How to draw an owl. Draw 2 circles and then draw the owl. So here's another P5 app. One thing I want to do for glitch projects, and I'll add to the to-do, add dates to the description, a general idea of when the projects were made. I don't know if I'll be able to do that because they're old, but I want to... So here's just a readme file. It's starting to get dark and I just heard thunder. Wouldn't it be funny if the power went out again? So I want to style the nav. I'll talk about the query parameter stuff. Art. I'm just organizing my to-do list. It's always like nice to... This is what I generally use readmes for local stuff. Like my website's not open source because honestly, like what's the point? I'm not using any like framework or minification. You could just view the source to see how I did everything. And I don't need people making copies of it and pretending to be me. Bookbinding, homepage. I mentioned want to make homepage more interesting. Move page query param because it's annoying the hell out of me. Okay. Let's do a brief code walkthrough of the site. Okay, so I have this public folder. I just use underscore so it pops it up to the top of the editor. Little tip and trick for you. This is where I have my libraries that I've made. So DragyDiv, graph paper is the P5 code. I have the minified P5 library. This is my like JavaScript for like everything, and then I have my JavaScript for WebWing. And I just have one style sheet for everything that manages my light mode and my dark mode. These are like my root colors up here, so I do not have to put color names and stuff down here and keep everything organized, whatever. My fonts, this is, I think this is the font I use for Bugs Rock. And I put it in here in case I wanted to use it for the site. This is my candle store coming soon. I've made a lot of changes to it, I just haven't deployed it. But look, Jen made a website where you can draw in the background. What a freaking shock. And a little dark mode toggle. This font is Mint Soda Lime. It's a free font on Google Fonts, I think. And it's just, I like it's like a nice, like almost italicized pixel font. So, this site though just uses Times New Roman, it's a default serif. Okay. Close out of it. So that's the public folder, and this is like all my images. I had some glitch assets, which are primarily the pixel sketchbook images that oh look, and here's a Mint Soda Lime. I could actually just delete this from here. These are all images that were from when gentrifer.com was a glitch app. And so when I exported all my projects, I grabbed my glitch assets and I just dragged the folder in here, and that's what I reference instead of organizing all of them. Just low priority to keep that looking like removing glitch from the directories or whatever. Maybe one day if I'm bored I'll organize it, but I've got a million other things to do. I don't even have my driver's license. Like, I have a long list of like things to do. Driver's license is probably second to last. But anyway, that's the public folder. And you'll notice that there's a little D here. This is the like git status, like I modified README. And so Nova, like a lot of editors, has a git interface where I can make a commit, stage everything, and then push those commits to a GitHub repo. And I have it so that when that GitHub repo's main repository is edited, here we have that there. DigitalOcean's listening to that, and it will deploy the new site, and then gentrifer.com will be updated. So there's that walkthrough. That's why there's Git folders here. Okay, art page. Let's mark from the bottom up. So I'm using just straight HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I'm not using like a content management like library, and so there's no templates. So I just like copy and paste. If I'm creating a new page, I just copy and paste everything, and then we'll edit whatever the cards are here and stuff. So if I were to completely change the descriptions and the analytics, I use Plausible for analytics, or like update, like change what the script files names are, I would have to edit all of these pages manually. That's fine. I know, like, I don't have too many pages yet, so I'm like good with that. If it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, this is annoying, then I will explore a framework. I'll probably convert it to an 11t site, which is what Live Laugh Blog and Bugs Rock are both made from. But for now, I haven't done anything here 11t wise. So yeah, one day I'll be on a stream converting it and cursing myself, and you'll be like, I remember when you said it was like no big deal, but that you said it would eventually be a big deal. And I'll be like, I remember that too. So I'm just like imagining out loud. Imagine if HTML imports had been good. Don't get me started. Oh my gosh. When I tell people I used to be a PHP developer, they're like, oh, really? I'm like, PHP as a templating language sounds insane to people who haven't written PHP, and the shit worked. Yeah, if it was broken, the whole page is blank, but like that's also what JavaScript used to do before like dev tools and stuff. Anyway, it would be great to have HTML imports and not have to like use like Browserify and Node and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. The shop page is literally just a refresh redirect because I was considering having the shop be part of jenschiffer.com, but then I didn't. So in case people go to jenschiffer.com/shop, it should just redirect to... Yeah, there we go. This like from doing all of my like moderation and support on Glitch, when I see an HP equiv refresh, I immediately I'm like, oh, scam site. So it's a fact that I get to use this very scammy tag to do something legit. I find it to be refreshing. It's my form of resistance against the scammer movement. But yeah, that's it. README we already went over. Let's go over index.html. So this is the home page. This is the root of everything. Extremely online, incredibly logged on. That was the name of an old blog that I had. I have a bunch of like stuff that I'd like to edit actually. I would like to make proper social card set images. Because one thing I like I removed it from Live Laugh blog when I moved it over to DigitalOcean is I removed a lot of like the SEO stuff, like the social cards and whatever, and I have to just see like what is the right code snippet. I'm not going to use AI to do it, but I'm kind of like, oh, that would be something where like AI is probably would be useful, if not for the fact that there's probably a million code snippets and blog posts online where they came from. And so I won't be using AI for that. I haven't used AI for any of this site or any site that I've done, but I do like to try to call out where I see people using AI when coding, and show an alternative if you're not someone who vibe codes. But I'm like, I just need to find like a snippet or go to someone's site that I know it like works well and just copy their code. Old view source shit. So I use Plausible for analytics, which I've been liking. It's not goo-goo. And then for my draggy div cards, these all just have a class draggy div and then a title for when you hover over the either the card itself or if you're hovering over the menu item when it's closed. And then each box can have a menu for moving or closing. That main intro box, I don't want you to close it, but I have a dark mode toggle. And then I just have my information. Everything's inside this inner box. I like to do my notes of when I update stuff. I'll put 19th here. Use the source, Luke. And then I have a placeholder list for where those minimized menu names go when you minimize a draggy div, and it goes into here. You'll notice that I have some JS only classes here. I've talked about this briefly before, but I have it so that if an item, for elements that are useless when there's no JavaScript, I will add a JS only class to it, and the default style is display none. So when you go to the page, it doesn't show, but then in my JavaScript file, if JavaScript is working, this file will run and it will remove that JS only class. And if I have elements that I don't want to show if JavaScript is running, like warnings about, hey, you need JavaScript for this, I add Node.js to it and I hide them if JavaScript is available. So it's just like a little trick that I do to progressively enhance the JavaScript. So if you're wondering what that class is, that just means if there's no JavaScript, why would I show a move button or a dark mode button? Because there's no JavaScript to do anything upon clicking those. So, yeah. And then for the other boxes, I do have the close button and just regular HTML on the insides of them. And then I'm loading my draggy divs library, which makes the boxes do the draggy things and the closing things. P5 for the P5 library. Graph paper, which creates the canvas, allows you to draw onto it. That's code I wrote. And then script, which is just like everything else. So hopefully it's clear. If it's not, you can ask in the chat, or you can write in the comments, or you can find all of my contact info here on jennifer.com, and you can ask me questions there. But, you know, you can view the source and see everything here, which is like a utility I like in not using a framework or static site generator. You get what you want is what you get. Although this must be is this like DigitalOcean? It must be. I do not use Cloudflare personally, but I know DigitalOcean does, and so they'll add this shit, which is quite obnoxious. I am team fuck Cloudflare. Also, you don't need to protect my email. My email is already out there. Who fucking cares? That's annoying. How do you get... Setting up email Zoho. Ah. I'm not reading all this. Anyway, if you're using DigitalOcean's app platform, it uses Cloudflare by default, and it will do weird stuff like protect your email. In fact, I noticed when I turned off JavaScript. See, look at this hi at jennifer.com here. I remove JavaScript? It like replaced email protection. You're unable to access this email address, jenschiffer.com. The website is protected by Cloudflare. They've been hidden. You must enable JavaScript in your browser in order to decode the email address. Which is so fucking stupid. So we're gonna add to the list. Remove DO's Cloudflare bullshit. I don't like that. I could also not have it just be the straight raw email that I wrote out, but I don't know. I feel like I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm a grown woman. Okay. So that's the index here. I'll go into glitch in a bit, art in a bit. Airbrush is a standard page. But let's talk about the query param. The thing that annoys me the most. Remove page query param because it's only to help me. Okay, so I did this thing where on some of my pages, not all of the draggy div boxes, I'll just call them draggy divs, show by default. So like if you go to work experience, it's not showing speaking experience. But if I open it, okay, nothing's happening here. This must just be the art page. Okay, this is good. Okay, art. So if I close and open, you see how it says page equals digital? And if I close them, it's blank. This was because I wanted to have it so someone can share the page with like this open. I don't know. I wanted to capture the state of the draggy div boxes. I don't find this to be important at all. And this is like disgusting and hideous, and there's actually a useful query param that I want to introduce. And a query param, by the way, query parameter is when you have a URL and you have this question mark at the end of it, and then you have these key value, key being page here and value being watercolors. This is a query parameter. And you can use JavaScript to do something with that. You can get the URL when you load a page in your JavaScript and look for the parameters. You can do it server side or client side. I don't have any server side stuff going on the site right now. And so I could say, well, if there's a page key, get those values and make sure that those are open. But I don't find it really necessary. Also, the draggy divs library, I have it set so that you can add a class to make the boxes minimized by default. So in work, see, I don't have anything in here, but I commented out my work bio because it's very old. Draggy divs init closed. My draggy divs library says that if the div box has this class, then close it initially. So, but I think that the script, I think script.js handles the param stuff. So let's go through here. So here we are in my regular JavaScript, script.js. We have Node.js. Modal, this is on that art page. I have this modal. This is an HTML modal. You can also hit escape. And in that stream, I was like making a gallery where everything is keyboard accessible. So I'm like not using my mouse right now. I'm using my tab and enter key to look through and then hit escape. Okay, so that's like this JavaScript. Opening, creating the gallery, blah, blah, blah. Then I have my code for dark mode, which I learned from Andy Bell. I don't know, just view source and look to it. And I have basically this code allows dark mode to be determined by your system, or you can toggle it because maybe you're like, I like light mode. Like sometimes like I'm a light mode person. My light mode is a default that I have for everybody. But if they have a toggle, I will check it to see which one is more visually pleasing to me. I like to have that option. I don't have to change my entire operating system setting for mode to see a site I like better. And also some of y'all's dark modes are fugly. And also some of your light modes are, you know, and that's shows you how to create a user controlled light mode, but also give the option to have the system set. And what it does is it just saves to your local storage what your option was. So that's all that code. Okay, so that's it. So that's not where the query param stuff. Maybe it's graph paper. No, not graph paper. Draggy divs. Which makes sense because it's a draggy div thing. If draggy div's data draggy page value is in the URL, expand. Okay. So let's, might as well do a walkthrough for draggy divs. Draggy div has a couple of helpers. I usually put my helpers on top, and then my event handlers, event listeners. Okay, how is this organized? This is, some of this code is over 10 years old. Tried and true. Okay. So draggy divs can be minimized, expanded, closed, opened, or dragged. So what we do is we find all of the elements that have the draggy div class. And again, we're using, this is how old the code is. We're not using query selectors here. This is old school JavaScript. So we get all the boxes that have draggy divs. We have all the boxes that should be minimized. And here's where we're getting the query parameters. So we get the window location, we get the search params to get the page, and I want to make it so I don't need this anymore. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to comment that out. And I don't know. Let's see. Then we get all the buttons that we need. We z-index everything above everything, whatever. And we set positions for all the boxes, which they're initially set in the style.css. Like these are the draggy div boxes. So they're set, the width, the left and top positions. And then as you move them, draggy divs tells you what the new position is. So on minimize, we add it to that minimized list. Remember that unordered list I had added? And we have an event listener on that minimized item so that when you click it, we expand it. And then we hide the main draggy div. So it still exists, it's just hidden. Its title is added to that list. Watch, when we close, the title's added to the list, and the box is hidden. It's still there, it's just invisible. And then when you click the button, it goes back to where it was. And then as we move it, the position clearly changes. When we close, we open, it goes back there. But when I refresh the page, it's back to where its default is, because the default is set by CSS. So yeah. And what I want it to do is to not, when I close and open, do this. I don't want to add that. So I commented out URL and pages. So let's see where, so URL is only used to get the search param. So let's start on pages. Okay. So when we're minimizing, we want to remove pages. We want to remove, when I minimize watercolor, when I close it, it should remove watercolors from page. See? So that way when I refresh it, well, if it's by default closed, it won't open, but so let's just comment that out. I don't know the shortcut to comment out all of this. Let me, I think I have, docs. Get help. No, I don't want that help. There we go. Let's see. Set up Nova just the way you like it. Preferred comment. Choose whether comment selection should default to commenting by line. Where's that? Huh. Let's find settings. Comments. Suggest prefer commenting by line. Well, how do I do it though? I want keyboard shortcuts. Gosh. I've only been using this editor for like a month. There we go. Comment selection. Comment selection alternate. Okay, command slash. So if I did... Okay. I get it. Okay. So I highlight, command slash. Okay, cool. And I guess I can change whether I do block commenting or not, but this is probably ideal. Okay, it works. I've always like, I don't internalize key bindings. One, because I use so many different things all the time, And also just like a way my like brain doesn't really like work. Okay, so there's pages. And then when you expand or open a drag div, we add the page to the URL. So we're going to comment that entire part out. I don't like that it put the comment lines here. That's just like a visual thing. Oh, and then this down here, when you open it, I have you scroll to where that draggy div is. Like if you're on your phone and you expand the webwing thing, it goes to the bottom of the page, but you won't know if it doesn't scroll. And so I have it here to scroll. I don't know why I have scroll to 0500. I'm going to remove that. Okay, so there's that. And then when you initially go to the page, we get the URLs and we say that we go through each draggy div, and if its page value is in the URL, expand it. But we don't want to do that. So we're going to comment that out. And then that should be it. And we'll know that's it if we let's preview this. I'm going to preview it in the browser. So Nova will open up its own little server. And so we have localhost here. Let's go to art. See if I close, it doesn't change the query parameter. Now let me make sure that there's no console errors. Ignoring event localhost. Well, whatever. So we're just doing some integration testing by testing the entire site. Close, open. You see how when I opened it, it like scrolled down to that? This is like useful if, let's see. We're gonna move the dock here. Go home. And we're gonna go to, okay. When we get activation console, see how it goes down here? It scrolls to the bottom so that you can actually do it. So there's a rhyme and reason to most things I do. Actually expand everything. Okay, cool. So that's good. Remove that. Should we do a section? Did? Make homepage. Okay. This I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do. Jen, you're streaming, my power go out this time. Whoopsie. This is gonna be the summer of power outages nationwide. Everyone get ready. Maybe it's a good time for me to be going into the candle making business. Being that we're probably gonna need candles. It's been so stormy and rainy around here. I think a lot of people don't realize that the New York City area, we like officially became subtropical like 5 years ago. So like people are like, oh, like it's raining every weekend, and it's just like, yeah, that's like what it does right now in the current state of our weather. We like almost had a drought like earlier last year, but We're gonna see more power outages. Also, you know, our dying infrastructure. Okay. So what we want to do next, I think I want to style WebWing a bit better. Oh, let's do WebWing mode query param. So we just removed the query param from the draggy div library, but instead I want to add it to WebWing mode. I want it so that if you go to this wing equals true and you go to that page, it takes you to this and not this. And then that also means that when I click this, it will add this, and when I close it, it will remove it. So yeah, but I need to take a restroom break, so because I've been staying hydrated. So I will be right back. Give me like 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Woo. Okay. I'm hearing thunder outside. Before I get into this query param nonsense, I'm gonna do a little stretch. Because I have yoga tonight, but I've been sitting for a while with my arms like this, so maybe you can stretch along with me. Okay. So first, energetically, like, put your hands together and stretch. Don't look up, but look straight, but try to touch the ceiling. And breathe. It's important to breathe. It's one of the coolest things that we can do. My computer can't breathe. AI can't breathe. Okay. Then drop your arms down, relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Like, get like whatever tension out. Okay. We're going to take your hand, hold it opposite side of your head, and gently stretch your neck. You want to feel the stretch down your neck, but like, it's gotta be like a nice stretch, not... Don't hurt yourself. Don't break your neck. You need that. Okay. And then do the other side. Gentle neck stretch. These are just sitting stretches, but like from sitting, you want to like also look into like hip flexor stretches. It's kind of like my head, shaking my head no. You want to look into hip flexor stretches because from sitting they can become tight. I do a lot of like yoga and hip flexor stuff, so I actually don't have that problem. But hold your hands like this, interlace your fingers, and just stretch it up front. Feel your shoulder blades separate. And then do cactus arms and like feel your shoulder blades try to touch. Squeeze the arms back. And if that feels like really tight and painful, you're probably tensing your shoulders a lot. You want to look into handling that. I kind of like to do like a little wave them back. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna do, this is like a grip strength like warm up that I often do for aerial yoga because there's a lot of pulling up my body weight in the silks. But I think when like you're typing, I don't know, I find that like I get my hands are less fatigued when I'm typing a lot and doing candle stuff since before I was doing yoga. So what we do is we stretch our hands out. You can see my hand here. And then like rapidly close and open your fist. You'll feel this like in your forearms. Just like randomly open and close. My flowers are hiding it. There you go. And keep your arms aligned with like your shoulders, not too high or too low. And then shake it out. Just warm yourself up. Normally when I go for a bathroom break, I like to, well, I have like dumbbells that I'll like do like a like 5 reps, just a single set of like lifting. But you know, if you don't have like an exercise in your practice, a good way to kind of just keep yourself warm and like not too tight is just like incorporate one thing that you do every time you go to use the restroom. It could be every time you go to use the restroom, you come back and you chug a bunch of water. That could be the start of it. Or Andy like does push-ups in between calls at work. Stuff like that. So anyway, let's get into this query parameter bullshit. And if you have a stretch that you like to do that energizes you, let me know. Let's see. I'll put the squatty potty as a squat rack. Okay. This might be a good time to, I'm gonna make a commit. I'm just gonna say removed draggy div query param. I know that I also removed the font whenever. This isn't a collaborative project. I don't care if the commits are like tell the most perfect story on the planet. Okay. I'm sitting on one leg because I gotta make sure to interchange it though, because my quads are a little sore. Because yes, last night was a mixed level class, which halfway through she dropped like, "Oh, today's class is about flexibility," and I was like, "I can tell." We did a lot of split leg stuff. Okay. Query param. So I'm going to keep draggy.divs.js open so I can like copy and reuse a bit of this code, because in this house we reduce, reuse, recycle. And so let's open up WebWing. Okay, let's do a walkthrough of how WebWing works. I believe I did this in a prior stream, but I'll do it quickly again. Let's go to GenWide Web, and I'll call it better. So this is the default of GenWide Web, and then of course we have that default closed draggy divs box, which I'm gonna change that. I don't like it, but it's there for now. I'll probably just put a button like in this box, or like here it'll be like move close or like an activate, and I'll have activate have like an obnoxious gradient that's like animated, so you'll want to click it. That's the direction I want to go in. In fact, I should put that in the readme. Move and improve activate button, not in a draggy self. So Mike says my other squatty potty is the Milk. Hey Mike, welcome. Okay, so Webwing is activated when I click this button. And so these are the buttons I have. There's activate, which is this button. When I activate it, then I have the close and then the next previous button. And I just make an object called buttons because, I don't know, I just find it to be easier. There's meta that I show of the project, which is the URL and the description. Then we have the header. These are all the draggy divs because when I activate that button, we're hiding all of that. Because when I activate it, it's still the same page, but it hides all the draggy divs, and then it puts the iframe. This is an iframe. Okay. We have a wrap for the embed. We have the embed, which is the iframe itself. I don't know why I call it an embed in this code and not an iframe. Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna get all the URLs. So I'm getting every URL that's in an unordered list, the class webwing list. So that is this list right here. And ultimately I would want to do this for all pages, not just the glitch page. But here's that list of apps I've been updating. I did the other day, 2 days ago, because I skipped yesterday. If I say yesterday, I mean the day before. Tuesday. On Tuesday, I had added a couple of projects to this, and it's all within this webwing list. And I gave it a category. I don't use that yet, but I know eventually I'll want to have webwing categories, so you can select which category you want to view, if not all of them, and then have a random mode. Actually, it's a good idea to put in my readme. Different categories. Category, maybe like a drop down. Random mode. Blah, blah, blah. So we get all of those URLs and we have an empty array here of all the webwing links. And the objects are the URL, category, description, name, and whatever the inner HTML of that anchor tag is, because like in my case I've been doing the glitch project name. We used to use tildes for the project pages. Well, they still do, but we have a helper function for updating the iframe. You know what? Let's stop making this difficult on myself. I'm calling this an iframe. Okay. Got rid of that. You know what? You know why embed confuses me now? Because that's like a term in like my candle making. Oh wait. Find replace. Let's go back. Okay. Replace, 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 replace. Boom. And probably have to replace it here as well. Yes, replace. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. So we update the frame. Set previous frame, update next frame. Here we have activation, and then closing, and then we have the event listeners for all of those buttons. Okay, and then on page load. So I already have here like to do check for activated query param start along with index. And I had an example of like activate equals true and then like have the site query parameter, but we are not going to do that. I think we want to do lang equals true and site equals like the URL name, which would be web links I dot name. Web wing links. But first we're going to do, and that all happens on page load because we want to check and see if there is that web link in the URL. So let's do that first. So remember here, we're gonna copy from draggy divs into webwing. Sorry, it's like, I sound crazy. Also, you know how dark it got? It's only 417. Okay, let's... Ugh. Okay. And let activated status or state, and we're gonna say webwing. That was called state. Okay. So we're gonna get the page URL, and the state is whatever the value of the webwing is. So then down here, we'll do like a if state is true, do the thing. So for example, no wait, I want to do if state so it'll be like it's true. Just drags all of it. Say is true. Then we want to activate. Oh gosh. I want to activate webwing. So let's see what happens here. Here we are. There you go. So web equals. Now, I have it just checked to see if there's a value. If I'm like web equals wow, it will start. That's fine. Who fucking cares? I'll keep that for now. Like, if there's just any value, it'll open up. Because eventually, I might want it to say, like, webwing equals, like, glitch. And it will just show the glitch apps category. You know what I mean? Or random. And it will just randomly show stuff. I don't know. But for now, as long as it has a value in that query parameter, it will activate it. Now, we want to... That's on page load. So now what we want to do is when I hit close, I want to get rid of this. And then if I hit activate, it will put it back again. And again, we already did this with draggy divs. So so this is to add it. So it'll be part of an activate, the activate look at this. Step 1, step 2, step 5. This is what happens when you enumerate your steps in your comments and then you simplify things. For here, we will do step 4. Oh my god, I'm not even showing my screen. I just did like a whole straight fucking walkthrough of all that code and didn't even just show my screen. Love that. I need you guys to yell at me more. Okay. Anyway, we're in Webwing and we're going to add activate query param to URL. So we're going to URL.set search params .set activate to true, and then we're gonna add to the history. So this should, if we close out of here, what did I, oh, I want to webwing, right? Yeah. So that when I click adds webwing equals true. And then that way if you share that with your friends, it will share the state that you saved from. Cool. And now we want to remove it. I guess we want to so for close webwing, for remove let's look up the search params API. I want to see deletes. So we'll just delete the value entirely. Okay. Did we? And then we'll do the push state again. Because we want to like be able to forward and back, navigate, all that stuff. Cool. See? We got our removal. Great. So now we have added the webwing mode query param. I can't believe I wasn't displaying my code the entire time. It's okay. Okay. And I'm going to... Whatever. Now I don't need it. I'm just going to delete it from the draggy div library. Let's first stage all. We're gonna add query param to webwing, move from draggy or cleanup. Great. So what do we want to do next? I'm gonna remove this. Let's just migrate them. That's a big to do. I'm not ready to do the book binding. Add web linked art page. Look, that's an easy win. So we want to let's close some of this stuff out. Let's add to digital project. Da, da, da. There we go. Make it art for institute. I'll just put I'm probably gonna have to rename this. Let's do it. Fuck it. Are we calling it webwing? No, we'll just call it glitch. Whatever. Fuck it. You know what? www. I'm gonna call it www. Gen Wide Web. All my digital web wing. And we're going to rename this to glitch to www. But even better, let's do new folder www. We'll move this to that. Okay. That way you don't have to change any of the URLs. Any of the, and update. Okay. So now the glitch folder is just my glitch apps. Let's see. So that still works because it's referencing the right URL. Cool. Great. Love that. And I don't have to move all this stuff. I might eventually move this into www, in which case I'll just have to do a find and replace, but this is neatly organized. So now what I have to check is, so for art, now that I've increased the size of digital projects here, I probably need to do some positioning. See here how it's like bigger? So I have to move watercolor projects down a bit. So let's inspect to where I moved it to. So now it's 1569. Art, 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 art. Let's just do it to 600. Ah. 70. Usually, too much is better than not enough. Amazing. Cool. We have to back to the bottom, refresh it. Great. And that only impacts it when it's in that smaller size. Right? Wait, did I do that right? Yeah. Because my media query for this, I'm like mobile first. And then I have a query for when the minimum is 800. Also check out my z-index. Isn't that funny? That's like how many miles to the moon we are. Yo, it is dark. Oh man, going to yoga is gonna suck. It's okay, it's okay. Damn. Okay, so we added a web link. Cool. Is this auto editing my markdown to put a space between? Ugh, that's so annoying. Okay. Okay, I've been doing this an hour and a half. I could stop here. But I also can edit this because this is fugly. So actually, let's do some editing. Now, okay, now that I have the ability to keep the web wing activated through the power of this query parameter, now I can refresh the style and it will, I won't have to keep opening and closing it. What was going on is I would style it and then I would have to reactivate it, and that was annoying. Thank you, Ashton. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cultivate a fun vibe, but is also like accessible and useful. I also have to remember that this is my website, so I come with a bias, which either works in cultivating a good vibe or I don't know what I'm talking about. So, okay, one thing I don't like, I'm gonna have to make these buttons bigger, and they still have to like work on mobile. So here we are on mobile. When I'm on mobile, this is centered, but on desktop, it's not. And this is a grid. So, who in the hell is that about? Should be that this is text align center. Why is this? What is this? Look in this space right here. Okay. Boom. What is that gap? The hell? Should it be 1, 1, 1? I guess so. Yes. Okay. I just had the grid value off. One for real, one for real, one for real. Ooh, lightning and thunder. Okay. Now I want to make these. I have these as like left and right. But what if I did center? Center. And what if the buttons... What if they're ginormous? Or at least bigger. I don't want it to take up too much space. But yeah. So let's try this out. And ooh. Did you hear that? Oh, it is pouring out. How long is this supposed to last? Is it bad to use WordPress for websites? What do you think? Is it too restrictive? Oh, ooh, okay. I mean, like any other situation, case by case basis. WordPress is great if you need like a proper content management system that you can run self-hosted or have WordPress.com do the work for you. It's great for blogs. I know they might have... Oh my gosh, it's raining so hard. Like it looks foggy outside, but it's water. A lot of my like bread and butter, like a lot of the stuff that I made money off of when I was in college, I did a lot of freelance work, was building WordPress sites. And then when I got into professional consulting, there's like a non-zero chance my power is going to go out, by the way. But I did a lot of WordPress development. Again, I was prior a PHP developer, and WordPress uses PHP for templating. I really like it, and it's often overkill. Like, you need a database to have pages. If you were like a simple site like mine, to like add a database to hold all my content is like quite overkill. But I also know how to build all that stuff. So it's easy for me to, if I feel like I need to use it, I can build it. I don't know, it's a hard question to answer. Do I prefer WordPress over, say, Drupal or Joomla? Yes. And that comes from my bias of like having experience with... I've built Drupal sites. When I worked at the NBA, all the D-League, now G-League sites were Drupal. And Joomla, there were a couple of hyperlocal sites that I used. Does WordPress even have work gigs anymore? It seems like it's all AI builders now. I don't know. I imagine so. I would say a large part of the internet is powered by WordPress, and even though there's AI builders, there's always going to be a need for like people. It's kind of like, are there people who write COBOL? Like, lots of our like software infrastructure is written in COBOL, and so COBOL developers actually like make a ton of money. So there is something out there, but AI has not fully replaced everything, and probably wouldn't in terms of especially WordPress. Also, like, a lot of best practices evolve and AI doesn't catch up immediately to it. And also the people who are updating WordPress itself are humans and not AI. And so as long as humans have the initial knowledge, there will be people that are needed for that. So also a lot of people who use WordPress for their sites that hire developers are not technically savvy. And so there has to be a human element there to translate what the machine does to the person. So I'm sure there are work gigs, but, you know, who knows? I'm not sure where the pendulum is swinging in that space. I haven't done WordPress development in a significant amount of time. I'm talking like 2017 was when I last was doing that work. What's this project structure for? This is my personal website. So this is just HTML, CSS, JavaScript, no framework, no static site generation. It's just like a straight up static, vanilla, if you will, site. So I was just checking the weather because there's a severe thunderstorm going on right now, so my apologies. Emotional Boy says, what is a gig? A gig is just a word for a job. Usually like a shorter span of time job, maybe not like a full-time thing, but it's like interchangeable. It's like a synonym for that. But I imagine there are a lot of WordPress jobs still. Okay, so what I was doing was, on this page, I want to style this, and that's what I've been editing. So we have my buttons are a little bit bigger. They're a bit too big though on desktop here. What's nice though is I can use a query parameter to make it smaller. Let's say 1.2. One thing that I'm not very strong at when it comes to CSS is really taking advantage of the different size units and adapting them to different screen sizes. So I'll find that I have to do a lot of Google searching. So he says, I've never had a chance to work as a junior dev, but I got this offer for a DevRel junior. I don't even know where to start. Am I just doing a lot of research? It seems like a role for more experienced dev. Talk to the hiring manager. DevRel essentially is you're an engineer whose focus isn't on building product, but it's on empowering other developers to build with your product. So for example, when I led community at Glitch, it was a DevRel role, and my job was to make apps on glitch.com to show other developers how to use glitch.com. What's the editor and theme? The editor's Nova. It's by the company Panic. And the theme is Solarized Light, which is an old color template that I've been using for my editors for well over a decade. Solarized Dark. Let's see if I could find... Oh yeah, Ethan Schoonover had made this a very long time ago. I wonder if there's a date on this page. But Solarized has a dark theme and a light theme. And just like, I like the tone of the accent colors. And if you go to the Solarized page, there's templates for a bunch of editors. And yeah. Said one of the things you'll be responsible for is growing GitHub stars and drive devs to visit the solution. It's like a SaaS solution. Yeah, so essentially you'll be building demos or examples using the tool, the SaaS service that you work for. And maybe if there are other tools that go along with that service, reaching out to their DevRel and their engineers to see if you can collaborate on demos and help drive their audience over to yours so that you can increase stars. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff with DevRel that you can do. Writing blog posts, creating content, video content, giving talks at developer events, or giving talks at events that are tied around the theme of what the SaaS service you work for is. is all part of the work. I find DevRel to be very fulfilling as somebody who likes to not just write code, but also talk. I like streaming, doing conference talks, writing blog posts, really being able to like dog food the product. And then ultimately you bring the feedback from your community to the people who build the product so they can improve the product in a way that like connects to its users. So you're like the glue between the community and the people building the actual service. Okay. Ashton's never heard of Nova. So Nova is fairly new, but it's from Panic, and Panic has been around for a while. These are all Apple products. They're also a video game publisher, but they had a long time ago made Transmit, which is an FTP, SFTP client, and they had another editor called Coda, and I used Coda a very long time ago, back when I was in grad school, in like the late 2000s. And so Nova is their newer one, and it's just a native code editor. It's an alternative to VS Code. It's more minimal, doesn't have a bunch of stuff, and I try to avoid locking myself into like a Microsoft ecosystem. But yeah. Also, don't apologize for interrupting my thoughts. This is, this is useful for when I'm live. I love talking to folks and answering those questions. But you said, is your lack of dev experience a problem making like a conference talk? No, not at all. I think you would find that regardless of what your experience or inexperience is, your story matters. Because there are always going to be people that are more experienced than you that want to know what it is like for earlier developer people. And there's always people who are going to have less experience than you, looking for somebody who has a bit more experience but isn't so expert that they can't see themselves relating in any way. So experience is a spectrum, and so a spectrum of voices are really important there. And hey, you got the offer, which means that they found you qualified, so don't doubt yourself. But also don't be afraid to like ask questions like this to your manager, but don't feel like your lack of experience. If your lack of experience will never be a problem. It might be a blocker to you reaching a milestone as soon as you try. So if you come up with an idea for a talk you want to give, maybe you built a demo at work and you want to share it, you propose that talk to different events, and if they reject you, they reject you. That's fine. It's free, and it's free feedback, and you just keep doing your job and you get more experience and you keep trying, and then eventually you will get that talk opportunity. And also look at meetups that are near you. Meetups are usually always looking for people of all different experience giving talks. But don't let your lack of experience stop you from trying. Let a rejection keep you trying again, essentially. Because everybody's inexperienced in some sense, and the way that you move forward is in trying a thing that's ahead of you. It's like weightlifting, when you're weightlifting, you want to progress and you want to be like okay with failing. If you lift too heavy, your body will tell you this is too heavy, and you're like, okay, let me try something different to work your way back up to that weight. But if you just stay with like a small amount of weights, you're never going to get stronger. Anyway, I hope that that's helpful. From one total stranger to another. You're welcome. Okay. So here we have bigger buttons, but then this is ugly. This is my problem. I have not designed this. Also, why is this showing? There we go. Great. Why? How would I want to make this look nicer? I don't want to make this too big because then it will take up too much space. But let's see. What if we did font size 1 EM? Okay, that can work. Can I change the vertical line, or is that not? No. That's another thing I have to figure out, is like how to do a proper alignment. Get out of here. So if we do that. So I like this, but then I want this. You see, this is where, this is the issue. So let me say that let me remove the font size. Did you just see? It's brighter now. The sun is out. That was crazy. I should have like a sky cam. Okay. So here, let me change this over. So we have desktop, mobile. Now what I want to do is vertically align elements in a grid. CSS. Vertically align elements in a grid. Let's go to Stack Overflow. Oh my gosh, I discovered yesterday that I had like a 7-year-old Stack Overflow profile, but I used my old work email to create it, so now I can't get it back. But I was only using that account to answer questions related to glitch.com when I worked there. So RIP my old Stack Overflow question account. I want to vertically align content with CSS. This is a duplicate. Okay. 7 years, 10 months ago. Oh, the Stack Overflow's annual developer survey is still open, so that's worth taking. Let's see. Trying to create a simple page. I'm feeling to center the text to respective cells. Please check this link. Oh my gosh. Is this literally just text align center? ChatGPT it? I don't use ChatGPT. I don't think I have an account. I want to see. This is it. Okay. This is it. Justify. Okay. Let's see if that. Oh, here we go. This is what I want. This is literally what I want. Justify. Oh, does the section have to be flex? Inline grid. I'll just copy that. Although you're right, this is like where an AI chat would be helpful. Let's see. We're gonna comment this out because I just copied it. So I have grid. What if I... Would this be content justified? No. It's neither a flex container. Oh, okay. So let's put that down here. Does that help? There we go. Now it's all, everything is aligned. Whoa. Ha! Nova just crashed. No, I don't. Usually go to CSS Tricks website for Flexbox or grid references. Yeah, usually that's where Google sends me to, but I knew that Stack Overflow would have like an answer specific to that, but CSS Tricks is a good resource. Okay, now where was I at? Okay, let me delete what I had commented out. Okay. Let's go to web, GenY web, activation, activate. Okay, so now the issue you see here, we have this bleeding, this like large name here. We have to figure out how to... This is why I think I had updated, I changed the grid to have 4 rows. Whoopsie. If you're doing grid, you can do justify content center line, I'm sorry, for inline and block centering respectfully. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing, right? Yeah. Justify content, line item, center. But now my problem is some of the content is ginormous. So if I did... Okay. Whoop. Try again. Whoopsie. Lost it. Let's preview. My server, my local server restarted because Nova crashed. I can't believe it's so bright and sunny out right now. And it was dark as hell. Okay. So now this because I made the grid this is what I'm trying to avoid, this like bleed right here. If you're doing grid, you justify content for inline and block centering respectfully. So let's see here. Inspect. So now I have this here. What do you think of Ruby on Rails? I am have not done much with Ruby on Rails in over 10 years. I did like one Ruby on Rails project, but didn't really get into Ruby or Rails at that. I'm mostly a JavaScript developer, and I got into the industry just as like the framework wars were starting. So like Backbone, React just was about to be created. And And then like server side, a lot of my stuff was PHP, with the exception of some like Java applications. So I know Ruby on Rails is this thing. I know what it looks like. I've done a little bit of it, but it's not something I would go to because that's not where my experience lies. Oh, what do I do about this? Let's learn about grid. Thank you, W3 schools. No, we're not gonna do that. There we go. I think I just have to like read the docs. Also, it might just be that grid is not the solution for a mobile experience. Oh, you can make the buttons auto. Oh, okay, that's okay. That's exactly Augo. Yes. Okay. Maybe I make them all auto? Or make this... How do I make that centered then? It is centered. What does FR stand for? Fractional unit. Okay. Portion of the remaining space. Okay. Min content. The minimum size of the content. Max content. Look at my little cockroach. Okay. Ugh. Is this better? I also want to add a... Definitely want to add a gap to it. We're getting somewhere. So how do we make the grid sizing? The fit content function uses the space available, but nevertheless, exactly what sets a minimum maximum value for the length it's supposed to be. You want min-max, not one for real. By my friend Chris. There are a lot of grids on the web like this. The minimum width of the grid column is the min content, which can be awkwardly wider than you want it to be. Grid blowout. Powered by DigitalOcean. Remember when DigitalOcean acquired CSS Tricks and then they fired its editor and Chris was like, let me buy it back, and they said no, and then they were like, actually we care about developer experience, and so then I guess they hired someone to edit it again. Now, how do I set this? I think now what I want is I want the grid to be... How big is this? This is 500. Okay, I want the max width to actually be 600. This is what happens when you go into using a thing that you don't know much about. Grid properties. Block level grid, inline level grid. This also might not be the best for me. Grid, template, columns. Okay. Finds a name and track sizing. Max content, the maximal content contribution. The largest sentence among all the grid cons. This. Okay. Oh, your power's back. Nice. What happens if we do auto for this? We'll do auto. I'll increase that max width to 800. Fit content. Okay, that's one way to do it. Oh, this fucked it up. Invalid property value. Oh, represents the... Oh, fit content is a function. What the hell is a CH? Chat? A length or percentage. So we did... Wonder what would happen if you set the wrapping to no wrap for that name. Is that the right value? Wrap? Wait, that's not right. No wrap. I forgot there's no hyphen in the thing. I'm not using... I'm not using flex anyway. Word wrap? Break it. There we go. I think that's what we're just gonna have to do. Which is fine for now. CH is the width of the 0 character. Oh, okay. Good to know. I can see where they got that from. I guess CH for character. Okay, we're just gonna... We're gonna change the little font size a bit. Good. Mobile. Ooh! Accidental zoom. Okay. We're at over 2 hours, so this is a good time to wrap things up. Now I just want to be like, how do I get, let me see what it looks like on the bottom. There we go. Well, we have the query param. Why did it do that? So what we want to do is have this set. Well, what I want to figure out next is how to make this wider. So I'm going to have to do some studying. I'll find a tutorial and kind of go through the ins and outs of grid sizing. But we have a better styled thing. We have a query parameter that sets it to true. We have an updated site. So let's close out. I got a lot done today. Thank you for helping me. I'm gonna commit these and send all of our changes to the World Wide Web. Cool. Okay, I want to style the nav part 2. Learn grid, ding dong. And then we'll like add different categories and randomization modes, but still want to like style it to make it look nicer. But yeah, and then I've got content to add. I got a lot of glitch projects to put in, but that's pretty much it. The sun is out for now. I got aerial yoga tonight. Hopefully it doesn't rain all over again, although it probably will. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to figure that out. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna take a little break. And it's Thursday. I usually don't stream on Fridays. But like and subscribe and join me again. We're gonna do some more updating on this website, and I think next week we'll get back to migrating some of my glitch apps into .com. But let's see if my changes were deployed. We got the June 19th. Webwing true. Yep. This is all live. Cool. And Puma's going crazy because he had his dinner. It's time for his treats. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Hope your power stays on. And yeah, I'll see you on jenschiffer.com. Bye-bye.